In today's video, we return yet again to Namibia for our May 2025 update. Now, what's been happening in the last few months in the region? What a beautiful coastline Namibia has. In today's episode, we're going to look at Rhino resources, latest on Grand Gulf Energy, ReconAfrica, news about TotalEnergies, and what GALP are up to in Mopane. So first, to the Orange Basin. But the colour of orange made me think of the colour blue, and last weekend I went down to Goodison Park to see the end of an era, as we're going to be moving to the Dixie. It's going to be called, I'm sure, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's down at Bramley-Moore Dock in Liverpool. Anyway, I digress. The Orange Basin. So shown here is the location of the Sagittarius-1X well. It's in licence PEL 85. Rhino resources operate. There are two 3D seismic surveys. Sagittarius is on the Link 3D. The Bridge 3D covers the area of the Capricornus, which it's now been drilled and was a follow-up success. Now, Sagittarius announced as a Cretaceous oil discovery in February 2025. And Capricornus, well, that was a follow-up success, another Cretaceous oil discovery. You can see the locations, and really just south of Mopane and over to the east of the Venus. The Marula-1X well, it was TotalEnergies over in PEL 56, shown on the map there. Unfortunately came up as a dry hole. We're wondering if there are sort of seeing some limitations to the extent of this working hydrocarbon system. So here are the plans from GALP, the Portuguese explorer, their block PEL 83, Upper Orange Basin. Wide range of water depths there, but Mopane seems to sit between that sort of 1,500 and 2,000 metre isobath. GALP are looking for a partner to help fund development. It's going to be a very expensive development. You can see there's been a number of wells now that have actually appraised the field, and so probably got a reasonably good handle on the reserve size. Good luck with that farm out. I'm sure it'll be of interest to many companies. Other news from GALP, well, they've confirmed that they've increased reserves at Mopane by an additional 700 million barrels. That's a 25% increase, and now reserves estimated to be in the region of 2.79 billion barrels of oil equivalent. Now, I must say, although it's recorded here as reserves, these are not reserves. These are resources. They're called contingent resources, and that's because there hasn't been a decision to go ahead and develop them. There's been no FID, a final investment decision. So in time, they will probably become reserves, but right now, they're resources. It's an important point. Here's a seismic section of Mopane. It was actually pointed out to us by one of our subscribers. Thank you, James. And it's the Cretaceous tectonic sequence summary in an east-west section. What you can see on the seabed here are these pockmarks indicated by the arrows here. Now, pockmarks are caused by fluids, liquids, or gases escaping. They kind of erupt through the seafloor. A bit like volcanoes, but these are actually made of sand predominantly and other sedimentary rocks. Maybe a good sign that there's oil and gas below. They're kind of caused by some sort of overpressuring and things, and it can mean that some of the gas that is trapped is released. Of course, they could be biogenic in origin and nothing to do with any sort of deeper thermogenic gas or oil source, but probably a good indication that there's hydrocarbons around in the system. The Saturn Complex, you can see deeper down here in the post-Albium pre-Cenomanian sequence, and that's yet to be tested. There's a bit more information and showing the pockmarks in a little more detail, and some of them obviously have been active for quite some time. So a quick look at the Walvis Bay, which is north of the Orange Basin. This is Grand Gulf Energy, company that I'm not too familiar with. They acquired 100% of Wrangle Proprietary Limited, who hold 70% of Block 2312. Here on the map in the south, here's the Orange Basin. As we move to the north, we come into the Walvis Basin. There's Walvis Bay, the town on the coast. And yeah, this is the sort of number of prospects that are seen in the block. They believe that there's both an outboard source kitchen and an inboard source kitchen. I'm not sure what the evidence of that is, but they've got a number of leads or prospects that they're trying to mature for drilling. So Grand Gulf Energy have published the resource sizes. These are prospective resources. That means these have not been drilled. They are prospects. have yet to be drilled. And the sizes, well, they look a reasonable size. 203, 86, and 75 are the low estimates of millions of barrels of oil in place. The best estimate, quite large, but they carry operators' assessment a chance of success of 22 to 25%. So a 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 chance of success for 3 of those prospects. Not quite sure what those shapes are formed by. Are they channelized features? It doesn't really say. Of course, these could be drilled and they could find nothing. They could be dry holes, and none of those resource sizes, those prospective resources, would get realized. Well, the operator seems to think that they're potentially large, but they're probably trying to farm it out as well. Now, a quick update on the onshore scene. Well, this is ReconAfrica, the first well in this new fold belt that was unsuccessful. Now drilling in PEL 73. Resource size, these are prospective resources, said to be very, very large. And I suppose if you actually stack all of these oil columns shown in here, if they were there, but of course it hasn't been drilled yet, so we might drill down there and find there's absolutely nothing in there. Yes, it is a well-defined structural closure. They're saying it's quite shallow depth to the Atavi, which is the main target interval. Yes, there are continuous seismic reflector packages, so the structure looks robust. It looks to be some kind of a thrust anticline feature. There's an unconformity here. So there's been a period of time when a significant amount of section has been eroded. So this was formerly a lot deeper. The source reservoir package is said to be in the hanging wall. So this is the hanging wall here of this fault. And this side here is the footwall. Deep penetrating fault into the décollement. Now, the décollement is actually the name, French word in fact, which is the detachment along here. This is where there's been movement, and the sequence on the right is actually ridden up over or trying to ride over the sequence on the left. Wish ReconAfrica every success. Yes, it could be large. It could also have absolutely nothing in it and be a dry hole. It's a similar looking structure, an elongate northwest-southeast anticline. Is this one of the last rolls of the dice for ReconAfrica in Namibia? It's the 5th well now. So, an overview. So the discoveries, they keep on coming in the Orange Basin. The play fairway has been extended by the finds by Rhino Resources. And what about the Saturn Complex? Well, we still don't know, still waiting for that to be drilled, and hopefully it will be before too long. Walvis Basin, new activity in that area. It is vastly underexplored and has some of the same characteristics that we see in the Orange Basin, but subtle differences. Onshore, well, good luck to ReconAfrica. And check out our previous videos in the region. We've done quite a lot of these now, and there's a good story evolving. I hope you found this update interesting. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. There's our website. Look forward to having you back on our channel before too long. Bye for now.